The human princess led the final assault, and history shifted. High above the bustling streets, Princess Lyra stood on the balcony of the royal palace, her eyes tracing the horizon where the twin moons hovered silently in the morning sky. Unlike the other humans who lived on the colony, she had always felt a deep curiosity about the stars beyond her world. Her mind never rested. She constantly sought to understand the universe and the strange beings who ruled over human colonies for generations. The Zethurian Council had long considered humans weak. They saw the species as fragile, emotional, and far behind in technology. Every time a human settlement tried to resist or expand, the Council dismissed their efforts with casual indifference. Humans were like children to them, capable of only following orders, never of leading. But Princess Lyra had never accepted that view. She had grown up reading about human history, learning how ordinary people had achieved extraordinary things. She believed in the strength of her people, not through brute force, but through intelligence, creativity, and courage. Lyra turned from the balcony and walked through the long corridors of the palace. The walls were adorned with holographic displays showing events across the galaxy. Peaceful trade missions, scientific discoveries, and occasional minor skirmishes that the Zethurians always easily suppressed. She paused before a display of old human heroes, past leaders who had risen despite impossible odds. Their eyes seemed to watch her, encouraging her to act, to find her own path. Her advisors often worried about her curiosity. "Your Highness," said one, a tall man named Iran, "the Council grows stronger every day. Studying them, imagining plans, it is dangerous. Humans are not ready to confront them yet." Lyra smiled softly, shaking her head. "Danger exists wherever humans go, Iran. But danger also teaches us, and I believe the time for waiting is over. If we do not act soon, we may never have the chance to show the galaxy what humans are capable of." Iran frowned but said nothing. He had long learned that arguing with the princess was futile. Her determination was something even he could not sway. That evening, Lyra gathered a small group of trusted humans in a hidden chamber beneath the palace. They were scientists, engineers, and scholars who shared her belief that humans had untapped potential. They crowded around a holographic map of nearby star systems, focusing on a small, irregular cluster of asteroids orbiting an unremarkable star. "This is our chance," Lyra said, pointing at the asteroid cluster. "The Council overlooks it, but it hides a command hub that controls communications across several sectors. If we can study it, understand it, perhaps even use it, we can prove that humans are capable of more than the Zethurians think." The team exchanged nervous glances. The hub had always been considered untouchable. Even minor attempts to access its systems had failed, and the Council had punished any human who tried. But Lyra's confidence was contagious. "How can we approach it without being discovered?" asked one of the engineers, a young woman named Mara. Lyra's eyes sparkled. "We will not attack it. Humans do not need to destroy to succeed. We will study, adapt, and create tools that let us enter without detection. This is not war. It is intelligence, patience, and creativity." For the next several weeks, the princess worked tirelessly with her team. They developed small drones to explore the asteroid field, mapping its defenses and learning the rhythms of Zethurian patrols. They designed devices to interfere with communication signals and redirect energy flows, tools that were clever, not destructive. Every night, Lyra reviewed the data, analyzing patterns, predicting the Council's moves. She rarely slept, her mind alive with possibilities. During one late-night session, a soft voice interrupted her thoughts. "Princess Lyra, why are you doing this? Why risk everything for humans who do not even understand the danger?" It was Iran, who had come without announcing himself. Lyra looked up from the display, her face tired but resolute. "Because Iran," she said gently, "humans have something no other species has. We adapt, we learn, and we create solutions where others see only problems. The Zethurians do not understand this. They never will. But if we show them even a little, they will see that humans are not weak, that we can change history." Iran sighed. "You carry a heavy burden, Lyra. I fear for your safety." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "I fear nothing more than inaction. The galaxy will continue without us, and humans will remain forgotten unless we act." The days passed quickly, and the humans under Lyra's guidance grew more confident. Engineers refined their devices, scientists discovered subtle weaknesses in Zethurian energy patterns, and pilots practiced navigating the asteroid field without detection. Every success, no matter how small, fueled the team's belief in themselves. One evening, as Lyra floated above the colony in her observation pod, she noticed a strange light in the distance. It was subtle at first, barely more than a shimmer, but it grew brighter as the minutes passed. Her heart raced. This was the cosmic phenomenon she had read about in the old records, a rare alignment of gravitational fields that occurred once every several centuries. She quickly summoned her team. "This is it," she said. "The alignment will amplify certain energy flows in the asteroid field. We can use it to our advantage. If we plan carefully, we can enter the hub undetected and gather the data we need. This is the moment we have prepared for." The humans worked late into the night, adjusting devices, plotting routes, and simulating every possible scenario. Lyra guided them with patience and clarity, encouraging ideas from every member, no matter how small. She reminded them that the strength of humans was not in one person, but in the collective. When the alignment finally arrived, Lyra led a small team of drones and observers into the asteroid cluster. The shimmer of cosmic energy bathed the rocks in silver light. Using their tools, they navigated around the hub's defenses, exploiting blind spots and subtle energy fluctuations. Lyra watched the screens intently, her pulse steady but her mind alert. Suddenly, a series of lights flashed across the main console. The Zethurian system had detected some anomaly, but it could not trace the source. Lyra smiled. "They see only shadows. We move like shadows, but with purpose and intelligence. That is what makes humans different." Hours passed as the team moved closer to the heart of the hub. Every challenge tested their patience and ingenuity, but they adapted quickly. They discovered hidden pathways, recalibrated devices in real time, and solved problems with clever solutions that no alien system could predict. Finally, they reached the central chamber of the hub, not a place of destruction, but a maze of energy conduits and control nodes. Lyra guided her team in carefully observing the system, recording patterns and mapping the connections. They learned how the Council's communication networks worked, how energy was distributed, and where vulnerabilities lay, not for attack, but for understanding. By the time the humans returned to Aurora Prime, dawn had broken. The city shimmered in soft light, unaware of the quiet triumph that had just occurred in the asteroid field. Lyra debriefed her team, congratulating them on their intelligence, creativity, and teamwork. "This is only the beginning," she said. "We have shown that humans can achieve what others think impossible. We have proven our potential, but we must continue. The Council will not see us as equals yet, but soon they will have no choice." As she looked out at the twin moons, Lyra felt a deep sense of purpose. She knew that the journey ahead would be difficult, but she also knew that humans had something no other species possessed: the power to adapt, to learn, and to rise. And so, the spark of change had been lit. In the quiet determination of one human princess and her team, a story had begun, one that would shift history, not through violence, but through courage, intelligence, and the boundless potential of the human spirit. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter that morning, as if acknowledging the beginning of a new chapter. Lyra felt the weight of her responsibility, but also the thrill of what was possible. The galaxy would soon witness the rise of humanity, not as a weak species, but as a force of ingenuity, collaboration, and hope. Even as the humans celebrated their small success, Lyra's mind raced ahead, imagining the next steps. There were challenges to come, tests of skill and character that would demand every ounce of human ingenuity. But she was ready. She had prepared her people, nurtured their confidence, and shown them that they could achieve the impossible without harming others. And somewhere deep within her heart, Lyra knew that history was already beginning to shift. One day, the galaxy would remember not only the humans' courage, but the wisdom and creativity that had carried them beyond their limits. And it would all begin with the quiet, determined actions of a princess who refused to accept that her people were weak. After the success of their first mission, Princess Lyra knew that careful planning and preparation were essential. One triumph alone would not convince the Zethurian Council of humanity's potential. If humans were to truly show their worth, they needed more than clever tools and brave individuals. They needed unity. Across the scattered colonies, people possessed unique skills, talents that could be combined to create something extraordinary. Lyra's first step was to travel to the nearby human colonies. Each world had developed differently, shaped by its environment and resources. On one planet, miners had invented efficient ways to extract rare minerals. On another, engineers had constructed advanced energy systems using natural planetary phenomena. Some colonies excelled in diplomacy, negotiating with smaller alien communities, while others focused on science, understanding cosmic phenomena that even Zethurians overlooked. Lyra moved from colony to colony, sometimes by shuttle, sometimes through private teleportation links. She carried no weapons, only plans and ideas. In each settlement, she spoke to the leaders, not as a princess issuing orders, but as a fellow human inviting cooperation. She shared her vision, a united human coalition capable of achieving what the Zethurians believed impossible. At first, not everyone was convinced. Some leaders were cautious, worried about repercussions from the Zethurians. "Princess," said one elder from the mining world of Arcanes, "we cannot risk defying the council. We survive because we are careful, not because we are daring." "What you propose, it is dangerous." Lyra smiled, understanding their fear. "I do not ask you to fight them. I ask you to show them what humans can do with intelligence, creativity, and collaboration. We will not destroy, we will create solutions. We will prove that humanity is more than the council believes." Slowly, she persuaded them. She highlighted how each colony's unique talents could contribute to a greater purpose. The miners' resourcefulness could help develop tools for navigating alien systems. Engineers could craft devices to enhance efficiency and predict patterns. Scientists could predict cosmic events to guide human strategy. Even diplomats could find ways to communicate, to understand alien behavior without conflict. By the end of her travels, Lyra had assembled a diverse group of humans from across the galaxy. They called themselves the Unity Initiative, a name meant to reflect their shared purpose. Each member brought a skill that complemented the others. Engineers, pilots, scientists, negotiators, and analysts worked together, creating a team greater than the sum of its parts. Back on Aurora Prime, Lyra gathered the Unity Initiative in the palace's Grand Hall. The space was filled with holographic maps, models of asteroids, and displays of cosmic phenomena. Lyra's eyes gleamed as she addressed the group. "We have the tools, we have the minds, and we have the courage. Now we must combine everything we know to prepare for the next phase. Our goal is not to attack, but to demonstrate human ingenuity and cooperation. We will approach the Zethurian hub in a way they cannot anticipate." The team divided into groups, each focused on a specific task. The engineers worked on energy redirection systems, devising ways to manipulate power flows to avoid detection. The scientists studied cosmic events, learning how gravitational shifts and solar flares could aid their mission. Pilots practiced navigating complex asteroid fields and simulating scenarios where communication signals might fail. Negotiators and analysts studied Zethurian behavior, seeking patterns and understanding motivations. Lyra encouraged everyone to share ideas, no matter how unconventional. Humans succeed when we combine knowledge, creativity, and flexibility. The Zethurians rely on rules and predictability. We rely on adaptability and insight. That is our advantage. As the weeks passed, the Unity Initiative made remarkable progress. They discovered subtle weaknesses in Zethurian energy grids, found hidden paths through asteroid fields, and developed predictive algorithms that could anticipate alien movements. Each small breakthrough boosted confidence, proving that humans could achieve results far beyond what the Council expected. One evening, as Lyra reviewed data with her closest advisors, she noticed a new anomaly in the asteroid field near the Zethurian hub. A previously unseen gravitational fluctuation had appeared, caused by a nearby binary star system. The phenomenon was subtle, but it could amplify the energy redirection devices they had been developing. "This could change everything," she whispered. "If we use this, we can navigate closer to the hub than ever before. The Council will never see it coming." The team quickly adapted their plans. Engineers recalibrated devices, scientists calculated precise timings, and pilots adjusted their routes. Every detail mattered, even a small mistake could compromise the mission. Yet the atmosphere was not tense, it was focused, filled with a shared sense of purpose. While preparations continued, Lyra also emphasized the importance of morale. She visited the quarters of team members, listened to their concerns, and reminded them why they were doing this. "We are not fighting enemies," she told them. "We are showing the universe who we are. Every skill, every effort, every idea matters. Together, we will achieve what others cannot even imagine." The humans formed bonds that went beyond duty. Engineers discussed theory with scientists, pilots shared insights about navigation with analysts, and every member learned from each other. Their cooperation became seamless, their trust unshakable. They were no longer individuals from separate colonies. They were a single force, united by vision and determination. As the day of the mission approached, Lyra addressed the team one last time. "Remember, our strength lies not in destruction, but in intelligence, creativity, and teamwork. We do not need to harm anyone to succeed. We need only to demonstrate the brilliance of humanity. Let the Council underestimate us. That is how we will show them our true potential." The journey to the hub began quietly. Small human craft moved in formation, guided by precise calculations and aided by the gravitational anomaly. The asteroid field loomed ahead, jagged and treacherous, but the team navigated it with skill and coordination. Each movement was deliberate, each decision calculated. There were shadows moving through the rocks, unseen, undetected. Inside the hub, the Zethurians continued their routine, unaware of the approaching humans. Lyra monitored the feeds from their drones and sensors, noting how the aliens relied on strict schedules and predictable patterns. "Their predictability is our advantage," she said. "We will adapt to them not by force but by understanding." Hours passed as the team moved deeper into the asteroid cluster. Pilots guided craft through narrow passes, engineers adjusted energy redirection devices, and scientists monitored the cosmic alignment to ensure maximum advantage. Every obstacle was met with creativity rather than confrontation, every challenge a chance to demonstrate human ingenuity. At one point, a Zethurian patrol almost detected a human craft. The team quickly adjusted their position, using the gravitational anomaly to subtly shift their path. The patrol passed without noticing, a reminder that patience and observation were more powerful than aggression. Finally, they reached the outskirts of the hub. From this vantage point, they could see the complex network of energy conduits and communication nodes. Lyra and her team studied the layout, noting how the Zethurians maintained control over multiple sectors. They were not seeking to destroy or dominate, only to understand and demonstrate. Lyra smiled. "We have done what the Council never expected. They see humans as weak, yet here we are, navigating their systems, observing their patterns, and adapting to their challenges. This is the true power of our species." The Unity Initiative worked through the night, mapping the hub systems and recording every observation. They identified inefficiencies, predicted system responses, and developed models showing how humans could achieve objectives without destruction. The data they collected was unprecedented, a testament to human creativity and cooperation. As dawn approached, the team began their return to Aurora Prime. Every member carried not only data, but also a sense of pride and accomplishment. They had proven to themselves what humans could achieve when united by vision and intelligence. Lyra felt a deep satisfaction, not in triumph over others, but in the quiet demonstration of human potential. Back on the palace balcony, she watched the first rays of sunlight touch the city. The colonies were still asleep, unaware that humans had taken another step toward proving themselves. Yet Lyra knew that history was being shaped, not through force or domination, but through the ingenuity and collaboration of her people. The Unity Initiative would continue to refine their tools, expand their knowledge, and prepare for the next phase. But the bond they had formed, the lessons they had learned, and the confidence they had gained would guide them through every challenge ahead. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were creators, innovators, and leaders in a galaxy that had underestimated them. And Princess Lyra, standing quietly amidst the rising light, knew that the story of humanity was only beginning. With every new discovery, every clever solution, and every act of collaboration, humans were rewriting the expectations of the universe. The Zethurians would soon learn that strength was not measured by power alone, but by intelligence, adaptability, and the ability to rise above challenges without harming others. For Lyra and her team, the journey had just begun. They would face obstacles, yes, but each one was an opportunity to demonstrate what humans could do. And in that quiet, determined approach lay the promise of a future where humanity's true potential would be recognized across the stars. The day had finally arrived. Princess Lyra stood on the command deck of the main human ship, overlooking the Unity Initiative's fleet. The asteroid field stretched endlessly before them, jagged rocks illuminated by the rare cosmic alignment that had been predicted weeks ago. The gravitational forces created shimmering currents of light across the space between the rocks, a natural phenomenon that could aid their navigation if they timed their movements precisely. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. This was the moment they had been preparing for, the culmination of months of planning, experimentation, and collaboration. Every human in the fleet had trained for this mission, and now they would demonstrate their ingenuity and adaptability. The Zethurian hub lay ahead, a sprawling network of energy conduits and communication nodes that controlled several sectors. The aliens had always believed humans could never approach it undetected. They relied on rigid routines and predictable schedules, never imagining that a species driven by creativity and collaboration could outmaneuver them. Lyra turned to her team. "Remember, we are not here to fight. We are here to show what humans can achieve when we think, adapt, and work together. Observe, record, and innovate. Every action matters, but every decision must be thoughtful." The fleet moved forward, gliding between massive rocks with precision and grace. The gravitational anomaly created by the cosmic alignment aided their journey, subtly pulling them along invisible paths that allowed them to avoid detection. Pilots adjusted their routes in real time, engineers monitored energy flows, and scientists calculated the most efficient approach to the hub. Inside the hub, Zethurian sensors flickered briefly, detecting slight disturbances in the asteroid field. The Council's commanders noted the anomalies but dismissed them as natural fluctuations. "Nothing here to worry about," one said, his voice calm and confident. "Humans are incapable of such coordination." Lyra smiled. They were indeed underestimating humanity, exactly as she had predicted. That underestimation was their advantage. As the fleet approached the inner perimeter, the team activated their energy redirection devices. These clever instruments did not attack or harm. They simply created interference patterns that made the human ships nearly invisible to the Zethurian sensors. It was a delicate operation. Even a small miscalculation could reveal them. But the Unity Initiative had prepared meticulously. Every member had practiced countless simulations, and their coordination was flawless. The first drones entered the outer nodes of the hub, observing and recording data. They moved like shadows, slipping past patrols and monitoring stations without triggering alarms. Each drone relayed its findings to Lyra, who analyzed the information and adjusted the fleet's path. "This is incredible," said Mara, one of the lead engineers, her voice filled with awe. "The alignment is amplifying our systems exactly as predicted. We can move faster and with more precision than we ever imagined." Lyra nodded. "This is the beauty of preparation and observation. Humans do not rely on power alone. We rely on understanding and adaptability. That is our true strength." As the fleet moved deeper, they encountered the first real challenge: a complex network of energy conduits that protected a central node of the hub. The Zethurians had designed it to prevent unauthorized access, and the patterns of energy flow were intricate. For a moment, the team hesitated, analyzing the problem from every angle. Lyra stepped forward. "We do not rush. We observe, look for patterns, understand the flows, and find the solution that works with the system, not against it." The scientists quickly identified subtle variations in the energy currents caused by the gravitational alignment. Using these fluctuations, the engineers recalibrated the redirection devices, creating a temporary corridor of safe passage. The fleet slipped through, moving closer to the hub's core without detection. Every step of the way, Lyra emphasized creativity over force. "We will not break the system. We will demonstrate that humans can achieve results without harm." That is the lesson we must teach the Council. Hours passed as the fleet navigated the hub's interior, observing, recording, and adapting. They discovered inefficiencies in the Zethurian network, patterns that revealed predictable routines, and subtle ways to optimize energy flow. The humans were not attacking. They were improving, understanding, and demonstrating the potential of thought and collaboration. At one point, a patrol of Zethurian observation drones came close to detecting a human craft. Quick thinking and precise adjustments allowed the fleet to avoid them entirely. The aliens never realized they had been observed, studied, and analyzed. Finally, Lyra and her team reached the central chamber of the hub. It was a maze of energy conduits, communication nodes, and control systems. The Zethurians believed it was impenetrable, but humans had arrived not through strength, but through ingenuity. Lyra guided her team in recording every detail, mapping the network, and understanding the connections. Engineers suggested ways to enhance the system's efficiency. Scientists proposed improvements based on natural energy flows, and analysts documented the Zethurians' methods. It was a demonstration of human creativity and intelligence at its finest. "This is remarkable," said one scientist, her eyes wide. "We are not destroying anything, yet we are achieving what the Zethurians never thought possible. We are improving their own systems, showing them the brilliance of human thinking." Lyra smiled. "Exactly. Our victory is not measured by destruction, but by understanding. By showing that humans can solve problems and innovate, we are proving our worth in a way they cannot ignore." The team spent hours in the central chamber, collecting data, refining tools, and ensuring that every observation was accurate. They learned how the Zethurians maintained control, how energy was distributed, and where small adjustments could create greater efficiency. It was a peaceful conquest, one of intellect and collaboration rather than conflict. As the humans prepared to leave, Lyra reflected on their achievement. The Zethurians would never suspect that such a small group of humans had entered their hub and left it fundamentally improved. The Council's arrogance and reliance on routine had been their undoing. Humans had moved with precision, creativity, and purpose. On the journey back through the asteroid field, the fleet remained alert but confident. Pilots navigated the rocks with skill, engineers monitored energy flows, and scientists ensured that the alignment continued to aid their movement. The humans had become a single, coordinated entity, their collaboration seamless and effective. Back on Aurora Prime, the Unity Initiative was welcomed as heroes, though their triumph was quiet. They had not fought a battle, yet they had achieved something far greater. They had proven that humans could succeed where others thought it impossible. Lyra addressed her team, her voice filled with pride. "You have shown the galaxy what humans can do, not through power, not through violence, but through intelligence, creativity, and cooperation. This is how we will continue to rise. This is how we will change history." The data collected from the hub was revolutionary. Engineers shared insights that would improve energy systems across human colonies. Scientists used the information to refine predictions of cosmic phenomena, and analysts developed models that would guide future missions. The knowledge gained would benefit all of humanity, not just the Unity Initiative. Lyra spent the evening on the balcony of the palace, looking up at the stars. The cosmic alignment still shimmered faintly across the sky, a reminder of the day's success. She felt a deep sense of satisfaction, not in triumph over others, but in the quiet demonstration of human potential. The Unity Initiative had accomplished more than they had imagined. They had proven that humans could achieve extraordinary results without harming anyone, that intelligence and collaboration were more powerful than brute force. And Lyra knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was watching, whether it realized it or not. The Zethurian Council would eventually learn of the human achievement, and when they did, their perception of humans would change forever. The underestimation of humanity, once a shield for their arrogance, would no longer protect them from the brilliance of a species that refused to accept limits. For now, however, the humans celebrated quietly. They had worked together, learned from each other, and achieved something incredible. Their unity had been their strength, and their creativity had been their tool. Lyra knew the journey ahead would still be challenging. There were more mysteries to explore, more opportunities to demonstrate human ingenuity, and more obstacles to overcome. But she also knew that the foundation had been laid. The Unity Initiative had proven that humans could navigate the most complex systems, understand alien methods, and improve even what seemed perfect. As she watched the stars, Lyra felt a quiet determination settle over her. Humans had taken their first true step toward recognition and respect. They had shown that their species was capable of greatness, not through destruction, but through innovation, intelligence, and collaboration. And in that realization, history began to shift. Not with a clash of weapons, but with the quiet, relentless power of human creativity and courage. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. Princess Lyra turned from the balcony, ready to guide her people into the next chapter of their journey. She knew that even greater challenges awaited, but with her team by her side and the Unity Initiative at her command, she had no doubt that humanity would continue to rise. They were not just survivors or subjects of a council. They were creators, innovators, and leaders in their own right. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter that night, as if acknowledging the intelligence, determination, and potential of a species that had just begun to write its own story. And Lyra, standing at the forefront of her people, felt the promise of a future where humans would no longer be underestimated, where their ingenuity and collaboration would shape the course of the galaxy itself. The final assault had not been a battle of weapons, but a demonstration of thought, strategy, and creativity. And in that victory, the humans had claimed something far more enduring than territory. They had claimed recognition, respect, and a place in the galaxy's story that could never be erased. The light of Aurora Prime bathed the city in a soft glow, reflecting off the spires and domes that stretched toward the sky. Princess Lyra walked along the palace gardens, her mind alive with thoughts of the Unity Initiative and the events that had just unfolded. The human fleet had returned safely from the Zethurian hub, their mission completed without a single act of destruction. Yet the impact of their achievement resonated far beyond what anyone could see. Humans across the colonies were buzzing with newfound confidence. For years, they had lived under the assumption that the Zethurian Council dictated the limits of their potential. Many had accepted it silently, believing themselves incapable of exceeding the expectations imposed upon them. Now, with the success of Lyra and her team, that notion had been shattered. Humans were beginning to see themselves not as weak subjects, but as a species capable of brilliance, creativity, and leadership. Lyra convened a council of the Unity Initiative members in the palace. Engineers, scientists, pilots, and analysts gathered around the large holographic table, their faces glowing with the excitement of what they had accomplished. "We have done more than observe," Lyra began, her voice steady and confident. "We have shown the galaxy that humans can navigate complex systems, understand alien methods, and improve even what seems perfect. But this is only the beginning. Our success must guide the next steps of humanity." The team shared reports from their mission. Engineers had identified ways to optimize energy flows in human colonies, making life easier and more sustainable. Scientists had gathered data on cosmic phenomena that could improve travel and communication between worlds. Analysts had developed strategies to interpret alien behavior and predict future events. Every insight was a building block, a proof that humans could excel not through force, but through intellect and collaboration. Outside the palace, colonies were celebrating quietly. Not with weapons or battles, but with festivals, gatherings, and shared knowledge. People discussed new ideas, built improvements to their cities, and collaborated on projects that had been impossible before. The success of the Unity Initiative had inspired an entire species to dream bigger, to aim higher, and to act together. Lyra spent hours walking among her people, listening to their stories and learning from their experiences. She understood that leadership was not about commanding from above, but about guiding and empowering others. "We have shown that humans can rise to challenges," she told a group of young engineers, "but our true strength lies in the ability to share knowledge, to collaborate, and to innovate together. That is what will shape our future." News of the mission eventually reached the Zethurian Council. At first, the aliens were confused. How could humans have accessed the hub without triggering alarms? How could they have moved through the asteroid field so efficiently? Their initial disbelief quickly turned into a grudging respect. The Council realized that humans were not merely survivors. They were thinkers, planners, and problem solvers. A delegation of Zethurians arrived at Aurora Prime to meet with Lyra. They came not as conquerors, but as observers, curious and cautious. Lyra greeted them with calm confidence. She explained the mission, emphasizing that humans had achieved their goals without aggression or destruction. "We do not seek to dominate," she told the Zethurians. We seek to demonstrate that humans are capable of intelligence, creativity, and cooperation. That is our strength, and it is how we will contribute to the galaxy." The Zithurians listened carefully, their rigid assumptions challenged. They began to see that humans operated differently from any species they had encountered. Where others relied on power, humans relied on understanding. Where others imposed control, humans sought to adapt. And in that difference lay a quiet but undeniable strength. Back on the colonies, humans continued to develop new technologies based on what they had learned from the hub. Engineers worked on energy-efficient systems. Scientists explored faster ways to communicate across vast distances, and diplomats began forming alliances with smaller alien civilizations, using negotiation and collaboration rather than force. Lyra encouraged them at every step, reminding them that each improvement, each discovery reinforced humanity's position in the galaxy. The princess also focused on education. She established programs to teach young humans the principles that had guided the Unity Initiative: observation, problem-solving, teamwork, and ethical innovation. Schools, workshops, and research centers flourished, spreading knowledge to every corner of human space. Lyra believed that a society built on understanding and creativity would endure far longer than one built on fear or violence. One evening, as she watched the twin moons rise over Aurora Prime, Lyra reflected on how far humans had come. They had begun as a species underestimated and overlooked, yet they had proven their value through thought and collaboration. "History will remember this," she whispered to herself. "Not because we destroyed or conquered, but because we showed the universe who we truly are." The Zithurians began to engage humans in cooperation rather than oversight. Joint research initiatives were established, and for the first time, humans were invited to contribute to decisions that shaped interstellar policies. They were no longer seen as subjects to be managed, but as partners capable of meaningful insight. Lyra's team continued to explore the universe, applying their skills to new challenges. They navigated uncharted star systems, discovered previously unknown planets, and solved problems that had baffled even the most advanced species. Each success reinforced the truth they had always known: humans were not weak. They were capable, inventive, and resilient. As the years passed, Aurora Prime and other human colonies became centers of innovation, learning, and collaboration. Humans worked with aliens not to dominate, but to exchange knowledge and advance the understanding of the galaxy. The species that had once been underestimated became respected and admired, a symbol of ingenuity and ethical leadership. Lyra watched these developments with quiet pride. She knew that the success of the Unity Initiative had planted the seeds for a new era of human achievement. "We have shown that humans can rise to any challenge," she told her advisors, "not through force, but through intelligence and cooperation. That is the lesson we leave for future generations." The princess also reflected on the personal growth of her people. Ordinary humans had taken extraordinary steps, showing courage, creativity, and collaboration. Their actions had proven that greatness is not determined by size, strength, or power, but by the ability to think, adapt, and work together. Even the Zithurians, who had once looked down on humans, began to learn from them. They saw that efficiency could be improved without destruction, that problems could be solved without conflict, and that innovation could come from unexpected sources. Humans had taught a lesson in humility and insight, one that the Council would never forget. Lyra continued to lead, always emphasizing the values that had guided her from the beginning. She reminded humans that true strength lay in understanding, in observation, in creativity, and in working together. "The universe is vast," she said, addressing a gathering of young leaders, "and we will face challenges that no single person can overcome. But together we can solve anything. That is the promise of humanity." In time, humans began to take a larger role in galactic exploration and diplomacy. They were called upon to mediate disputes, to advise on scientific projects, and to collaborate on cultural exchanges. Their reputation as thoughtful, capable problem solvers spread across the stars, earning them respect from even the most advanced civilizations. Lyra often reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The mission to the Zithurian hub had been daring, but it had been guided by intelligence and collaboration rather than force. The success of that mission had shown humans what they were capable of and had begun to shift the course of history. The Unity Initiative remained active, mentoring new generations and guiding humanity's growth. Their work ensured that the principles of creativity, cooperation, and ethical innovation continued to shape the future. On Aurora Prime, the celebrations of progress were quiet but meaningful. Humans honored their achievements not through conquest, but through learning, collaboration, and discovery. Each new technological advance, each successful project, was a reminder of the potential within every individual and the power of working together. Lyra stood once more on the balcony of the palace, gazing at the stars. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that humans had begun to claim their place in the galaxy. They had proven that intelligence, adaptability, and unity were their greatest strengths. "The galaxy will remember us," she whispered, "not for the battles we fought, but for the minds we inspired, the solutions we created, and the future we shaped." The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter that night, reflecting the brilliance of a species that had discovered its own potential. Humans had moved from being underestimated to being respected, from being observers to being innovators, from being subjects to being leaders. History, once written by others, was now being shaped by humanity itself. And at the center of this transformation stood Princess Lyra, a leader who had guided her people not through fear, but through intelligence, creativity, and unwavering belief in what humans could achieve. The journey of humanity was far from over. New challenges, discoveries, and opportunities awaited across the galaxy. But the foundation had been laid. A species united by thought, inspired by creativity, and strengthened by collaboration could achieve anything. And as Lyra looked up at the endless expanse of stars, she knew that the story of humans was only beginning. They had proven their worth, reshaped expectations, and claimed their place in the universe, not with force, but with the enduring power of intelligence, courage, and unity. The galaxy had changed. The humans had changed. And the promise of what was possible stretched as far as the stars themselves. The human princess led the final assault, and history shifted.